Yo, what's good, everybody? How's everybody doing? It took a minute. It was like I was like, wait, what? What's going on? It took a minute. Like it like lagged a little bit. What is good? It is a Fivestar Feed Wednesday, and we are here. Uh, how's everybody doing? How's everybody doing today?
Whew,
Doing
great.
good.
Yes.
Splendid. Splendid.
Whew,
I am Tony
fired
Klapper,
up.
aka Mr. Fivestar, the clapback kid, the chat 'em up champion, and always I'm here with Ryan, the originator. What up, Ryan?
What up, 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 what up? I don't know
Everybody's
what
crazy, Uncle Fish.
What up? Just spent 2 days going through storms and tornadoes to get home from a con. Glad to be here.
Glad you're
Here.
glad you're
And
okay.
the wonderful Fe Soleil here to slay. What up, Fe?
Woo, what's up? I forgot how short our intro is in comparison to how it used to be. So
I know it gets me every time. It gets me every time.
Quick and to the point.
So, as you guys can see, I got a new office space. I'm excited about that. By next week, it'll be decorated back here, and you guys will be like, "That's what's up." But right now,
is it going to
blank
be
wall.
5-star tier?
It's gonna be 5-star tier for sure.
Okay.
Speaking of 5-star and 5-star feed and 5-star things, we have ourselves a 5-star guest tonight.
Ooh,
We have ourselves somebody who's been in the biz doing voice acting for a very long time. Going to be a guest at Fivestar Comic Con, Mr. Campbell Cooley. Campbell Cooley. Campbell Cooley. Campbell, how do you? It's Campbell, right?
Campbell, it's like the soup.
Like the soup. That's what I was. That's what I was.
He's second guessing himself so hard.
How are you doing?
I'm really good, thank you. I really appreciate you inviting me to be on the show.
We are excited to not only have you on this show, but to have you at Fivestar Comic Con
100%.
with a whole gang of other Power Ranger casts. And it's exciting, man. It's our first year in Dayton, and to have voice actor at your caliber be there, it's super exciting. But yeah, we can just, how about we do this? Let's start with this. How about for those who might not know who you are, let's have you introduce yourself, tell the people who you are, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. So I started working in film and television back around 97, 98. I started out doing several episodes of Xena Warrior Princess, Hercules,
Yes.
various other shows, and quickly discovered that it was kind of hard to make a living just being a film actor. So I thought, well, I should break into voice acting. And I really struggled to get a film agent, a voice agent. And so it's kind of like this catch-22. It's like you can't get a voice agent unless you've done a job, but you can't get the job unless you have a voice agent. So several years went by before I was able to get a voice agent. And ironically, my very, very first professional voice job was on Power Rangers SPD. And I thought, you know, I've done my due. It's really hard to get on the show. I've done my one monster, and they're going to move on. And
Yeah.
for some reason, they just kept bringing me back every year. And so 18 years later,
Yeah.
worked on every season since SPD.
Yeah. That is wild to say because I would imagine, and that you can fact check me on this, but there's not too many people that can say that, correct? I mean, you got to be in like a league on your own in that realm, right?
It's very kind of you to say. I reluctantly say you're probably right. The only other person who is probably comes close to the amount of voice work I've done would be Kelson Henderson, who, God love him, he's amazing talent. The only difference is that I also did all of the looping, which is all the background sounds. So there's like episodes where there's background monsters that don't get credited, or a civilian running and screaming, or somebody on the radio. So, you know, I was doing literally every episode of Power Rangers looping the background stuff.
Wow.
Since 2006. So I think that's what pushes me a little over the edge.
Yeah, man, that's That's crazy, man. That's awesome. As a Power Rangers fan, that's just awesome to even have this conversation with you for one. So you started with SPD. You had to have known Power Rangers was around before then, obviously, because it was big. What was your first interaction with Power Rangers?
Oh, I'm gonna get into so much trouble telling this. So when the show came out, I'm showing my age here. I was not the. Uh-oh.
Oh,
Over there, we cut out
Yeah,
there.
you're here.
We're good.
So when the
Sorry.
show came out, I was not the demographic. I was in my late 20s,
Right.
and one day I was in my apartment doing some cleaning, and I think I was doing some vacuuming, and I just wanted some noise in the background. And somebody outside making noise. Stop that. So I was doing some cleaning. I just wanted some noise. I turned on the TV, and Power Rangers came on, and I was like, "What is this?" I was just totally befuddled. I was like, what is this? And seconds later, Alpha 5 comes on the screen, and I remember going, that is the dumbest looking robot I have ever seen in my life. Well, little did I know, 14 years later, I would be voicing an Alpha unit.
Yeah.
Talk about foreshadowing.
That's what you get right
That
there.
is hilarious.
So that was my intro to Power Rangers.
Yeah. That's funny, man. And such a prominent character too in the series. So for you, what's it like getting the call? Like, hey, you're gonna be, because we had our guest last time. He's talking about like that's not even really something that I want to do, but I just kind of signed up for it and then I got into it. What was your headspace like auditioning for this and then like you like getting it? What was your headspace like in that?
Okay, so at the time when I got involved with it, they had moved the show's production to New Zealand.
Okay.
And I was living in New Zealand at the time.
Oh, okay.
And so I know this is going to sound weird, especially with the advent of the internet and, the instant access to information, but, it was still kind of relatively in the early days of the internet.
Mm-hmm.
I got called in to audition for this thing, and there's something about, at that time being in New Zealand, we didn't really know the cultural impact of certain things. Like I told you earlier, I was working on Xena. We had no idea it was the most popular show in the world.
Xena's amazing.
We didn't know. To us, it was just a paycheck. You were going, you hit your mark, you say your line, you get paid, pay the rent for this week, you move on to the next job.
Yeah.
It was kind of a similar thing with Power Rangers. I mean, I knew it was like this thing, but I didn't realize that it was like this cultural phenomenon. So when I got called for my first audition, really all I knew was that it was just really hard to get these auditions. And so when I got it, it was like, okay, well, now they're going to move on to the next person to get a fresh monster voice and everything. And it really wasn't until, so my first period was 2005. I don't think it was until 2017 during Ninja Steel that I was like, I'm a part of something big and I need to understand this better. So I went back and I literally binge watched everything from Mighty Morphin to Dino Thunder in 3 months.
Wow.
That's a lot of Power Rangers.
It was fried.
That's a lot.
But it like I kind of get this now, and I also know because I had this sense that at some point I was going to be doing conventions, and I wanted to understand what I was a part of. I wanted to be able to interact with the fans, and if they share something with me, I know what they're talking about. So,
wow.
Yeah,
That's pretty incredible. I mean, just diving in head first and kind of, especially considering like the Comic Con culture of just trying to learn and familiarize yourself with that. I'm kind of curious, how was your first experience with that once you realized just how big of a thing it was? How was your interactions with fans like that?
My first con was Pasadena Comic Con, and I was probably the least important celebrity in that con. But it was, maybe that was a nice intro because it meant like I wasn't being overwhelmed with a lot of people, and so I got to, you know, meet the occasional person here and there, and it was kind of like, okay, this feels weird, but you know, I'll get used to it. And then my next con was Power Morphicon, and that was like whoosh, it's like, oh my gosh, this is.
Yeah.
But it was a really good experience, and I got hooked up with an amazing assistant, and so I think doing Power Morphicon was my first real experience with the fandom, and
Yeah.
I've loved every Power Ranger convention I've done since then.
They're a fun time. I've been to 2 of them personally, and I can definitely say they are like a unique. There's a unique feel to them, especially as a Power Rangers fan, and just being there, and everybody's there for that reason, right? Because they are Power Ranger fans. So it's really cool to just be in that atmosphere of people just really enjoying that fandom. Compared, you know, like other cons are cool, and you got like a bunch of diverse, but like when you go to a con that's made just for that one thing, it really is just like a special time, I feel like.
And you know, I just remembered something I'd forgotten. The very first con I did with Pasadena Comic Con, which was early 2022, I think. Somebody actually did a cosplay of Snide from Dino Charge, and I was just like, "Whoa, it's incredible!" You know. So that was my first taste of many such cosplays to come.
That's awesome, man. So with Power Rangers, the way that it's set up, like a lot of the villains from season to season, like the monsters that they face, you know, episode to episode, there's some similarities in a lot of the monsters as far as like their objective and what they're doing. And you don't really get like, it's not like Power Rangers has like too many fleshed out villains that are like, as far as like story goes, I feel like there's like some of the big ones do, of course. Like, how is it for like a voice actor that's on this project and not only like you're not carrying villains on to the next and on to the next? Like, what's it like going into like a new villain for a new show? Like, do you approach them each differently, or like how does that work for you? Like your process with that?
That's a really good question, and I think, understandably so. You know, if the average person probably would think that, you know, we're probably told in advance, this is the character and this is they're going to be their story and this is going to be their arc and this is their backstory. Yet, no, none of that happens. So, so I'd say obviously there's no point in focusing on like the one-off monsters, you know, the one episode monsters. But in terms of like the ongoing villains that, you know, I've played, I don't think there's been a single explanation given to me about like, you know, anything about the character. I 99% of the time have gone in almost completely blind, and
Wow.
from what they look like and the voice that we've come up with, I'm going into that first episode, I know absolutely nothing, and I'm having to kind of feel my way through it. You know, I remember when I did Beast Morphers, you know, the Strazel, like I didn't realize he was going to be like an ongoing character. I thought maybe he'd be around for like 5 episodes, be destroyed, and that was it. So, you know, I kind of went into it just completely blind. And as he, you know, continued, I was like, hold on, this is like a main character. And you know, you can only kind of go off of what dialogue they give you in those first few, you know, episodes. And my memory is that this is probably the closest thing to creating, kind of shaping the character based on what I had.
Yeah.
If you go back and watch Beast Morphers, the first few episodes, Strazel, I'm playing him very angry. He's got this kind of like, his anger, bitterness. But then once he starts realizing he's useful to Evox and inventing things and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
loosens up and he gets a lot happier because he feels useful. So as I jokingly call it, like once the Stockholm syndrome kicks in, he becomes a really fun character.
Yeah,
That was going to be my question, like the process of deriving these characters and where do you get your voices from? Like, what is your favorite character that you've played throughout the process of Rangers, and like where do you derive your voices from? Because you've played so many. Like,
That's
I was
incredible.
just like, what's your process when it comes to that?
Sure. I will do my best to answer that.
Yeah. You can cut it down.
So the standard response I give is that 9 times out of 10, when I see a picture of the character, the voice just comes to me. Don't answer. I don't know. But in the case of Scrozzle and then the following season, Slither, I had no idea what to do. I mean, I was freaking out. I remember in the case of Scrozzle, you know, I mean, and I knew what he looked like for a few days before I auditioned for them, and I figured something was going to come to me, and nothing. And it was literally the morning of the audition. It was like half an hour before the audition, and I was in my bathroom panicking. I was looking at myself in the mirror, going like, "I have nothing for this character. What am I going to do? I'm going to go into the booth. They're going to hit record, and nothing's going to come out of my mouth, and I'm going to look like a fool." So at this point, I was like, I just have to come up with a voice.
Yeah.
I don't look like a fool. It's not even about getting the part right now. I just don't want to look like a fool in the booth. And I remember for the first time, I just started pushing my gut. I was trying to just push something out. I was going, nothing was coming out. And then, boom, the Scrozzle voice came out. And I was like, this sound like an evil robot. What is that? And I was like, I don't care. I'm gonna submit it, and then you know the rest of the story.
Hilarious.
I don't understand this. And then my theory, nobody's told me this. My theory is that he sounds like a petulant child, and that works really well with Blaze and Roxy. So the bickering and everything. So I think maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know. And then so I figured, okay, I'm done. I've done so many characters. They're not going to bring me back for the next season. And then the next season, the producer insisted that I audition for Slither, and I was just like, oh, what am I going to do for this character? and again, it was a similar thing where like all I knew was what he looked like. It told me he was like a magician, which was like, well, that was misleading. He was a shapeshifter. Yeah, it was like a deceiver, and I was like, oh, what do you do with that? So, in those to answer your question, in those situations, I'll try and draw inspiration from somewhere else. You know, so the fact that he was like this supposed magician and a deceiver, it kind of reminded me of Rasputin from the Russian Tsar family. And so I thought, okay, so I'll do some kind of Russian voice or something. And I went in and I did this Russian voice, and they were like, no. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And again, it was a situation where I had to just push.
Yeah.
Popped out. And
took your voice and hit shuffle.
And again, I wasn't sold on it. I was just like, where did that come? Oh, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. And then,
wow.
I love that. That's incredible. The fact that up to the moment of just waiting and trying to get it to go and come out. Because I was going to have a similar question, but really more or less like doing this time and time again, and just like the looping, like you said, in the background. So do you have like a ritual that you do when you get prepared for these type of sessions? Is there some type of certain warm up? Is it kind of more like your scale type of warm up, or is there some type of ritual now that you kind of made of yourself that you kind of do now?
Oh no. Oh my gosh, I'm going to disappoint so many people with this. So, you know, is like, you know, they go, la, 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 you know, they go through these vocal exercises. Yeah. And then, you know, they breathe and everything. I'm just like, whatever. Something really starchy and heavy, and just like kind of get the blood flowing. And it's just like, oh, I'm nice and relaxed now. And then I just jump into it. And honestly, I don't know how I still have a voice, because there have been, I'm sure you've heard, you know, most of the characters, and some of them are really quite, and you know, I remember my first year looping. All I did was watch this other guy. His name was Jeremy, and the thing I noticed about Jeremy was Jeremy didn't hold back. Jeremy just boom, he just did it. And the others would kind of like hold back because they didn't want to look foolish. And I noticed that the people who didn't hold back kept getting invited back, and then those who held, those who like, oh, they, no, we need you to be able to commit to this. I just would push my voice so much harder than I should. And yeah, it yielded some great sounds, but like there were days where I'd finish a recording session and I couldn't talk for 2 hours.
Wow.
So is there a what's okay? So let's that is made me think of this. You have a hard day at the studio, voice acting. You're doing your thing, like you said. You can't. Is there is you got a special remedy next day, like something that's like that you do that's taking care of those vocal cords,
like hot teas or
yeah. Usually it's something like one, I just don't talk. I try to let it relax. I might have some lozenges, some hot tea.
Okay.
Usually it's if a recording session is going particularly hard, I usually end up falling back on those things anyway just to get through the session. And then there was this other thing which I've not been able to find for a long time, but it was like a lozenge. I think it was called Dragon's Blood or something. And you would suck on this and it would just like numb your throat. Don't know how healthy that is, but it's just like, it's like, oh yeah, I can get through the session now. So usually like hot drinks and just not talking, just taking it very easy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I have a question.
Yeah,
just because you do have the reputation of having come back so many times and done so many characters and doing all the background looping and stuff. What is it that you think has made you somebody that they've called on so many times? Like, I'm always giving people the advice in working in comics, be the kind of guy people want to work with. Like, why is it they keep calling you back, do you think?
I think it's twofold. To build on what you just said, and this is a really big part of it that a lot of people just don't understand. Be easy to work with.
Yeah.
If you're difficult, if you're a diva, if you think it's all about you, you're not going to get invited back. And I know this sounds kind of vain, but I think I'm relatively easy to work with. And I will bend over backwards, for projects, even when it feels like, oh, this isn't going the way it should. The other is that I did, before I got into voice acting, I'd done a lot of improv comedy. So, all those years of improv comedy, I've been able to kind of play with voices and come up with all kinds of characters in my heads. So I think that in some respects, I almost kind of had a foundation. It wasn't so much that I drew from those characters, because when I think about the characters I used to do, I don't think I actually used any of those voices for any of the characters, but I think that they helped lay a foundation that I knew I can actually hit that range, or I can, modify this particular voice.
How to play with the blocks and the dials to get different effects out of I got you. Nice. And having the creativity to be able to think on your feet and fly by the seat of your pants and do stuff like that has to be nice for the whole creative team to be, let's try something different, rather than somebody that can only do, say, 2 or 3 things.
Yeah. And nothing against any voice actors that can only do like 2 or 3 things, because there are people like that. They've made careers out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wish I was making their kind of money. So
yeah. So you go back and you watch the old seasons. Is there a season that you feel like, man, I wish I was a part of that season, or like a monster that's somebody that you've seen that you were like, I would have went a different direction with that voice, or maybe that's a voice that I would have liked to do. Do you have any of that in the Power Ranger, just with like Power Rangers?
Not to take anything away from the voice actor, because I actually think the voice was perfect.
Yeah.
But I would have loved to have taken a stab at Venjix.
Okay.
RPM. But I mean, honestly, I don't think it would have been as good. My version would have been as good. So, really. And then in terms of like other seasons, I have a strange affinity for Ninja Storm. I never it's not one of the more popular seasons, but I love Lothor. I think Lothor is so much fun. And in terms of like actual monster voices, gosh, that's hard to answer because I mean, I kind of feel like the work that I've done encompasses a very, very wide range of
for sure.
voices. So it's almost like, well, I could say I'd love to have done that character, but it's too similar to this other character. Maybe forget the character's name. Who is the villain in Time Force? Who is it Frax?
I'd have to look.
I think it's Frax, and it turns out that he was actually a human scientist at one point, but he was betrayed and he became this horrible, hideous monster. Great, nice little backstory. So I think I would have liked to have taken a stab at that.
Okay, yeah, I think you're right on the character name. I'm not like well versed in every season, but yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I think it's cool that you took the time to go back and like watch the old stuff. I would imagine like not too many people are taking that time to go back and do that, especially like you said, you're about to be on the con scene and like you're doing all these cons. I've seen you've been part of like, how many cons are you doing a year right now?
That's hard to answer. It varies from year to year. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think last year I may have done upwards of 10 or 12.
Okay.
And
cool.
That was a learning curve because there's like, so there are people that are doing this like every weekend, and last year I did like 3.
Crazy.
Crazy. Like, how do you do this?
Yeah.
This is so hard.
Yeah, there is. There's a lot of people there. I see that on like a lot of their stuff. It's like they're going like it's like every weekend they're doing different stuff, and it's like, man, and there's just a lot that goes into setting up or doing anything with a con. Like there's this. It doesn't matter if you're a guest going. It doesn't matter if you're setting up.
Energy.
Yeah.
Mental energy.
All of it.
Social battery.
Social battery. Yes.
Yeah.
All the batteries.
For sure.
Every battery.
Yeah.
Just giving Energizer Bunny if you're doing that every weekend. Amazing.
All batteries.
Right.
For sure. So with One Piece, you're in One Piece. Me and my son are just now starting getting into One Piece. The live action comes out. We're going back to watch the anime now. With your character, is your character someone that you think will end up? I don't know how far into the season your character from One Piece goes into. Can you answer that one real quick, and then I'll.
He appears in episode 899, so you probably have a ways to go.
Okay.
But he's only in 5 episodes. He's not destroyed or defeated or anything. So he's technically still around. My limited understanding of the Japanese, I think, cartoon that it's based on, I think he has a brother that looks almost identical, who I think later shows up in the cartoon. So I don't know what the anime has planned, but my gut feeling is that those 5 episodes are probably all you're going to see of Urashima from the Wano arc.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't got that far in. My son's like a super fan of One Piece, so we're trying to like chip away at that. With these different franchises and this anime is starting to like really take off and become super prominent, is there any franchises that you're like, man, I really want to stab at? Like I really would like to get into one of these franchises.
I mean, there's a few. There was one that I really wanted to get into that I think I'd auditioned for maybe once or twice and nothing came of it. And the end of last year, I think it was like middle of December before everything shut down, I got cast as a guest character on this one particular anime. I'm not saying what it is yet, but just because it hasn't gone to air.
Okay.
So I don't want to violate the NDA, but let's just say it's
Look at that. That's a pro. That's a pro right there. That's a pro.
I want to tell you so badly.
That's a pro.
But it's I mean it's very high profile. I mean, if I were to tell you, you'd be like, oh yeah. But
Nice.
but now that I've done the one episode, I seem to be getting more auditions for it now. So hopefully that means that I'm on the radar and they'll be like, oh, let's bring him back for some other things. So
Nice.
fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Hey, you know what? I mean, I got mad respect for you just for the simple fact that going back and watching the content is just enough for me to be like, hey, this guy is worth having on anything because he's going to do his homework. And I think that's so important because as fans of shows or as people that are, into the shows, I feel like you can tell sometimes when people don't do the homework.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be frustrating.
Yeah,
and they're winging it.
Yeah.
As somebody who went back to watch Power Rangers, making it through the first season of Mighty Morphin, it shows that you got commitment.
That's very committed.
That was tough.
Yeah.
As an adult. I didn't grow up a fan like you. I was too old. So, like, I was in college when it hit. So, going back and rewatching that, I mean, I was a fan of He-Man. Going back and rewatching that is tough.
Right.
No, as a fan, as a Mighty Morphin fan, somebody who grew up with Mighty Morphin, I can even agree because it's funny because you said Beast Morphers. That was the series that my son first watched and got into. So that would also hold a special place in my heart because it's one thing like when you grow up watching it and then you're able to pass something down to your kid. And that's the first season that he really got into. He got the action figures. He wanted all the stuff. You know what I mean? He got to meet the Blue Ranger from that series and had something signed from him and stuff. So that was cool. But I can agree, Fish. It is hard going back and watching some of the Mighty Morphin stuff. And even it's funny like when you watch it with a kid and he's kind of like, can we just turn that other season back on? I'm like, no. You gotta watch this.
You gotta pay your dues, kid.
Man. Yeah, you gotta power through.
Pay your dues is a good way to put it. Pay your dues.
You gotta pay them dues. You gotta get in. You did Paw Patrol. What was like? Is there? Do you have like kids or grandkids or anything like that? Or
I have no kids whatsoever.
Okay.
Oh, dude, let me tell you.
I was just curious. Like,
all is crack for them babies.
Yeah,
my grandbabies love it so bad.
Because there's some people who are like, my kids, they watch this, but they don't even realize it's that's my voice. Or I was just curious if you had any of those kind of or anything.
Well, I have a friend. So there's another show that Paw Patrol makes. Not Paw Patrol, the Moonbug. Moonbug is the producer of Paw Patrol. And they've made this other series, which has only been out about a year and a half, called Mail with Mr. Zip. And I'm the narrator. In fact, it's really the only voice for the whole thing. And a friend of mine told me the other day that he had it on for his granddaughter, and his wife did not even recognize that it was my voice. So I was like,
yeah. That's funny, man. Yeah, I was always curious with that. Like, I feel like you can sometimes like pick up hints. Like, there's voice actors that as soon as I hear their voice, I'm like, oh, that's the same guy that voices this person. Or he's got to be, and then I'm straight to the phone. Like, it's got to be this person.
I will say there are a few super fans out there that have seen so much of my work that they have kind of admitted, like, once I started hearing this character, I was like, oh, that's Campbell Cooley doing that voice.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not doing my job properly.
Foiled again.
And
he was, yes, Kyron. He was in Xena. Yes, sir.
Xena.
Oh, man, I've been so into the conversation. I forgot about the chat.
Yeah, we got Kyron who says 5 people on 5-Star Fridays, which is not 5-Star Fridays anymore, Kyron. It's Fivestar Feed. It is a good Wednesday.
Feed, Kyron. There's no more Fridays, Kyron.
Yeah.
I just remembered something. Kind of, I'll use that as a segue. I was doing a con. I want to say it was the last Paramorphicon, and this mother brought her little 8-year-old daughter up to the table, and I could tell by the mother's look in her face she knew my work. And my guess is that she probably was starting to make the daughter watch some of the series. And she comes up, and And I started doing the voices, and this girl was like, "Those are really good impersonations." And the mother said, "No, he's the actual voice." And her whole face just like lit up like, "Whoa!"
Yeah. Kids are funny in that way. Kids are
hilarious.
Kids are funny in that way at cons, and like when they meet people, like even with me when I take my kids, they're like, no, he's the voice, and it takes a minute to get it, and then when they get it, they're like, oh, okay, it's like it is.
A grown woman at my table start crying when the voice actress from across the aisle at the con came over, and I started chatting with her, and she heard her voice and suddenly recognized all of the characters that she had voiced and just starts weeping when she realized one of her favorite, character actors is just sitting there talking to her and has been sitting there all this time and didn't recognize it.
The whole time? The whole time?
The whole time?
Yeah. I'm going to use that as a segue for something that I love telling people at cons. So a lot of people know that I was the voice of Snide from Dino Charge.
Yeah.
That's what I'm remembered for. But most people don't realize there was another ongoing voice I did for that season that no one knows about.
Okay.
T-Rex Charger, engage!
What?
Holy shit.
I'm the voice of the Dinomorph Charger throughout the series.
That's crazy.
I love
That's
it.
fire.
You're just the gift that keeps on giving.
Right. I mean,
Name that voice actor.
Yeah. That's funny, man. I didn't know that either. And it's cool that you said you do all like the loops and like the different background stuff. And like, so what's like a typical day like look like? I mean, when you're like recording these sessions, like how long of a day is that?
Generally, okay, so if memory serves, when I started out, I want to say the contracts said that we could potentially be recording for up to 5 hours. There's no way you're going to need 5 hours to record a guest monster for an episode. So maybe it was just a contractual thing, like they're just covering their bases. Mm-hmm. Depending on the episode, I might go in, I might have a few lines, and then the other times I walk in and it's like a 2.5 hour session. But that's my voice starts giving out after a while. There was an episode in Ninja Steel, where for the Halloween episode, Cosmo was kind of like the villain. I think the episode was called Grave Robber. Mm. He throws them into like the Rangers into some kind of like virtual video game or something. And that was a real learning curve for me because, whenever I did Cosmo, he usually just had a few lines of dialogue and then he was done. It was, but they weren't long sessions. But now he was like suddenly the guest, like he was the main villain voice for the entire episode. So instead of doing like 10 lines of dialogue, I'm now doing like 70. And we got halfway through the session, my voice just gave out. I just, I'm gonna have to come back. There's no way I can finish this. So, but all good experience.
Yeah. No, that was curious about like doing all the loops and whatnot, like how long those sessions could be. Very interesting. You're actually the first voice actor I've interviewed. Have you guys interviewed it? We haven't interviewed any other voice actors.
I had happy hour with a voice actor last Friday. It was really fun.
Okay.
Well, damn.
Well, Fee's a little different. Fee gets.
I love voice actors. No, I mean honestly, the two questions that we do have from our audience, it's really cool because one was asking Danny J. Quick, what's up, man? Was asking about how you actually kind of get started in it. And then I like this question too, because it was like, have you done any audiobooks? And if you would you be interested in something like that?
So how did I get involved? It was kind of a fluke. So I'd been trying to get a voice agent and not very successfully. And what happened was the casting director for Power Rangers, he would only ever go to voice agents to draw his talent from, And for some reason, this guy cast a wider net, and he reached out to my film agent, and he said, "Do you have any Americans on your books?" Because again, the show was being made in New Zealand. And she said, "Yeah, we got this guy." So knowing how hard it was to get these auditions, that's why I was so stressed out. Like, I have to get this. I have to get this job because this might be my only chance to audition for it. So, and the rest of the story. I got it, and it just kind of opened the door from there. For people who want to maybe take a stab at voice acting, it's. I don't know that I can offer like a quick intro, here, but I mean, I would say the first thing you need to know is really do your homework. Like, go online, watch YouTube videos of like professional voice actors talking about, what's involved in everything, the time commitment, the amount of networking you're going to need to do, and find out if that's really what you want to do, because it's actually a much bigger commitment. It usually the average person is just going to see, maybe video of us in the booth, making silly voices, and it looks like we're having a great time. But that's only like the last, 3% of the journey. Like, you don't see all of the hard work spent leading up to that moment, like networking and trying to get a break, and constantly auditioning for things. And that can be very demoralizing if you're auditioning for like, months at a time and you're not getting anything. So I would say, go online, do your research, find out if it's a commitment you really want to pursue. And if you know in your heart you absolutely want to, then okay, then there's plenty of good voice acting academies online. And I'd say that's probably your best bet.
Nice.
That reminds me of a story, because like being a comic artist is the same thing. Lots of people like to draw. Lots of people like to draw superheroes, but drawing pages over and over again all day long is a whole different animal. And you got to be a little bit broken to enjoy doing that all day. And I remember being at a panel and somebody was asking, like, how do you get into comics? And everybody on the panel was like, I have no idea why you'd want to do this. There's no money. There's no nothing. It's a miserable job. And even if you get a job working for one of the big guys, eventually that editor's going to get fired, and now you don't have a connection and you're out. Like, this isn't a job you want to do. And I remember sitting in the audience at that panel and being like, well, dang, I'm screwed because I have to do this now. And there just wasn't really a choice after that. It's like, if you see it all and you still want to do it, then maybe it is right for you.
Yeah. And then we had the audiobooks question.
Right. Oh man, that's hard. I mean, like, I would only be willing to do audiobooks if I could go into a recording booth with a director and a sound engineer. But I think a lot of audiobooks, maybe most audiobooks today, people are just recording in their home studios, and that means you're doing all the work, you're doing the editing, you're directing yourself, you're second guessing. Like me, I would second guess every choice I made. Is this right? And I spend 3 days trying to record one page because I'm like, I want this to be perfect, I want it to flow perfectly. Whereas if I don't have to worry about doing my own tech and directing myself, then I can just relax and it would come out a lot faster.
Okay.
I'm so glad you said that, because I'm literally narrating my first audiobook and I was like, this is stressful, like engineering and everything like that, with the little cuts and listening to different audiobooks and hearing them. And it's like I know they're breathing, they're humans, they're not robots. Like, how you have to edit all of that stuff out and all those works. But of course, it's so different compared to your area where you're just like, you have these characters and you're interacting with other people in these, like, it's just like, wow. So huge respect to that, because it is such a thing, like, to just go in for it. But it's a lot of different parts you don't think about until you go into it.
Right.
And the industry has changed so much since
immensely, like dramatically, in like the last least 10 years.
Yeah, and especially in the last 6, in the wake of a certain incident, where people were forced to stay at home, and consequently now everybody's like having to record out of their closets and stuff, and people were forced to learn how to do all their own tech and da 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 da. And suddenly it's like, what? You mean our talent can now do all of the engineering and direct themselves? Wow, we can save money. So let's just stick with this system. And it just puts a huge burden on me personally. I think it puts a huge burden on the voice actor, because I want to be able to focus on the performance, not it's like, oh, I remember times where I've like recorded something and I look back and I realized, oh, that setting was off, now I got to redo all that. It's too much for me. I want to just focus on the job.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. With us, getting towards the later part, I want to shift focus a little bit on the con experience. Having you at the con, having you at Fivestar Comic Con, we're excited about that. And with you doing so many cons, what for somebody who might be watching that's never been to a con before or is looking for what does the con scene mean to you? Like, what do you feel like the con scene does for people that get to go, and like how does that impacted you?
Gosh, I think there's several answers there, and I don't really know which one to start with. There was a con I did in, I want to say it was 2022. I think it was my first Ranger stop, and that was if it wasn't 22, maybe it was 2023. I don't remember. And it was in Orlando, and I was really looking forward to it. And Florida got hit with a hurricane, and suddenly like all the flights were canceled, and it was a miracle that I actually even got to the con, and we probably lost about half of our attendance. But there was something about that I really liked. It meant that the people coming up to your table, you got to spend more time talking to them.
Yeah.
You really got to form connections and get to know each other, and you really give them a kind of personalized experience. And there were a few people that weekend who I think really valued that weekend, because they really got to spend time talking with various people from the franchise, and it just really elevated their experience. Obviously, you can't always have that. I like to give, anybody who comes to my table and wants to talk to me, I want to give them as much of my time as I can.
Yeah.
Because I've had a few, I've had a few fanboy moments in my life that I'm very happy about, and I'm just so grateful that these celebrities gave me their time. That's just some of my most special memories.
Can you tell us about one? We love to hear fanboy.
I mean, come on, you're smiling from your eyes right now. It's like, I want to hear the story.
I have never shared this. It's certainly not publicly. All right.
Okay. Oh, you're getting a Fivestar Feed exclusive, guys.
It's just us.
This is an exclusive. So how long? I think I'd been in New Zealand about 7 months, and I was working in a restaurant, and my station was right by the building that we were working in. The restaurant was in is called the Ferry Building, and it's like this really old building where you used to catch the ferry from, and they've converted it into offices and restaurants and everything. And the entire back wall, which looks out onto where the ferries are, was just like solid glass. So it wasn't like there were windows. You could just look out and you could see people sitting at their tables, outside eating. And I think it was a weekend. Maybe I was working brunch or something, and it was kind of slow. And one of the waitresses came over to me and she said, look who it is. I was like, what? She goes, it's the Candyman. I didn't know what she was talking about. I'd never seen the Candyman movies. So I'm looking over like, what are you talking about? And she points, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's Kern from Star Trek. It was Tony Todd.
Yeah.
And it turned out Tony Todd was in New Zealand filming an episode of Xena. Mariner. And I was just like, oh, I've never done this before, and I don't want to make a fool of myself. But I went out and I introduced myself. He was so gracious. and we just had the longest, nicest little chat talking about Star Trek, and he was really proud of his work on the show and everything.
Wow.
And I got to say that is probably one of my most special memories.
I love
That's
that.
awesome.
That is incredible, and you shared it with us. So we're so happy.
Yeah, I love that.
For that.
We love
Tony.
that's one of the questions I ask the guest. I usually ask our guests is like, we like to hear what you know, what you nerd out about, right? You're part of fandoms that people nerd out about, and obviously, you know, Power Rangers has a huge fandom, and there's a lot of fans that are just dedicated to the Power Rangers, and you know, want to go to all the cons and collect all the stuff, and that fandom is real. And they really get to nerd out about it. So I think I might know one of your answers, but what's one of the things that you nerd out about? Like, what's one of your things that, like, even maybe now or as a kid or growing up or whatever, that you're like, man, I nerd out about this stuff?
Man, that's hard to answer because I don't know that I like nerd out in the traditional understanding. Like I can really, really enjoy something, but I enjoy it in a very subdued way. You'd never know really, really enjoying myself. I'm a huge fan of Babylon 5.
Okay.
And just to give you an idea how I guess this is proof of my nerddom. I have watched the series all the way through nearly 10 times.
Okay.
Okay.
See, that's nerding out.
Yeah.
That's nerding out. That's
I don't
that's
nerd
exactly what
out.
we're
I
talking
just
about.
obsess over.
I like how you're so
topics.
subtle about it. You're like, yeah, 10 times. Oh
10
yeah,
times.
You're doing it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's
awesome. And then Star Trek.
Yeah, I was a huge. I didn't become a Trekkie until Wrath of Khan came out in '82, but after that, I was completely hooked on Star Trek.
Okay.
So,
Don't say new Star Trek because we'll fight.
No.
We'll fight.
Yeah, no, trust me, we're on the same page there. Okay.
Okay, good.
I'd say everything up until Enterprise. Okay?
Yeah, everything up until 2009. Thank you.
Yeah.
But and I really, I know this is a lot of people say, like, you know, this is probably not the best of them, but like I really enjoyed Deep Space Nine.
I love Deep Space Nine. Deep Space Nine is great Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is there anything that's like coming out, or you know, that you're excited for, like in what the stuff and like what you're into or what you like? Is there anything that's like coming up that you're like, man, I'm excited to see this when it comes out, or I'm really looking forward to this when it comes out?
There probably is, and I'm just not thinking of it right now. I have kind of like this tunnel vision here.
Oh, for sure.
I'm just focusing each moment to moment, like I got to get this done. Now I got to get this done.
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually not until I'm right upon something, I'm like, oh, right. Yeah, there's this thing. And I'm looking, you know, now I get to enjoy this. So in terms of like movies or TV or pop culture, man, I'm sure there's a few things I can't.
That's okay. Yeah, I get it.
Campbell, you better go see Dune 3. That's all you need to do. Go see Dune 3.
I know I'm gonna like Dune.
Just go see Dune 3.
Yeah.
I was like, did you share your story yet? Have we experienced it yet? Did we get to the part? Did we nail it? What are
you talking about?
Campbell, I'm asking, did we get to that part? Did we say the story? You were saying like the suspense.
Yeah.
Did we get to see it?
Yeah, that was the whole thing with like seeing Power Rangers for the first time.
Okay, I was worried. I was like, okay.
You know,
I wanted to be sure. Just double checking. I was nervous. Okay.
It's just knowing how devoted a lot of Mighty Morphin fans are, and especially towards Alpha. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I saying like, you know,
your first intro to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. He does have a.
You come to me as someone full of
unique
surprises, so I wanted to be sure. I was like, is there still something else under this? Like, is there more in the magic hat that you had to pull out? I was like,
But if you weren't a kid when that came out, it was kind of hard to take. I mean, you know, it was real exciting for the little guys. But
I'm getting a little off topic, but in terms of like, you know, other little surprises and things. So I'm assuming most of you have seen Beast Morphers.
I have. I don't know if they have or not.
Because I don't want to. There's a twist at the end. I don't want to ruin if they haven't seen it.
Ain't gonna ruin it for me.
Okay.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
So So for those of you that have seen it, you know the big twist that happens at the end of Beast Morphers. And I remember by the time we got to Beast Morphers, I was also one of the voice directors for the show. And we brought in Andrew Lang to do the voice of Evox, and knowing who he was in actuality. And there was probably only about 6 of us that knew the secret. And a moment came where it was like, hold on, how are we going to credit this? We cannot put Andrew's real name.
Oh, yeah.
People will figure this out.
Yeah.
So we were trying to think about something, and I suddenly realized, I went, hold on. Evox is a computer virus. Let's take Andrew's name and make an anagram. And that's where Randall Ewing came from.
Wow. Okay. That's
That's cool.
We getting a little inside scoop here. I love that. We got some. Is that? I mean, I'm sure you said that before, maybe a panel or something, or is that a?
I think I might have shared it at a panel a few years ago, but I mean, I think this might be the first time I've shared it online. So
there we go.
Ooh, what an honor.
Clip it, Fish. Clip it out. Make sure we get this clipped out. Just kidding. No, we're really, Fivestar Comic Con is coming to you Dayton, Ohio, June 20th and 21st. We're really excited to have you there. We have a cast of Power Ranger, people that are going to be there. So definitely, if you're a Power Ranger fan and you're in that fandom, it's definitely a place that you want to stop by, meet some people, get some autographs, take some pictures. It's going to be a fun experience, man. And we're excited to have you there.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for inviting me.
For sure. Before we go, does anybody else have any other questions they want to ask, or are we?
Yeah, please. I mean,
where can we find you? I mean, where can anyone find you that wants to support you and things like that? What's going on? What's coming out?
Okay. I mean, I do have a few social media things. I have a YouTube channel that I sometimes put behind the scenes videos on. I've been quite negligent. I haven't put anything for a while, but it's just Campbell Cooley, voice actor at large, and that's on YouTube. I've got Instagram, which I think is Real Campbell Cooley. I've got a TikTok account, which is Campbell Cooley, Twitter at Campbell Cooley. I don't really use Facebook anymore, other than to just stay in touch with certain people. So don't add me on Facebook. And of course, every time I say that, people add me on Facebook. So reach out on the other social media platforms.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so you told me to specifically send you a Facebook friend request.
Yeah,
no,
right. In the next hour, okay?
You guys, if you're watching, you need to go to fivestarcomiccon.com right now and grab your ticket. If you go to our Facebook page, we're running ads right now for 20% off the ticket, so you can grab 20% off the ticket. That is Father's Day weekend, but what better thing to do with your dad, your father, to take him out to this cool con and meet some cool celebrity guests, meet some cool indie creators, meet, over 175 vendors that we're going to have there. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be a fun time. And we like to tailor the experience to anybody who comes. Our logo, our slogan is "Here you are the main character." We want everybody to have a main character experience when they come to the con. And we're really excited about it. Again, Campbell, thank you for coming to the show. We greatly appreciate it. I look forward to meeting you in person. Your agent is awesome. I love Blake. He's the greatest. I'm gonna shout him out. He's super hard on himself. And I'm like, bro, you're killing it, bro. Don't even worry about it. He's always like apologizing, like, man, I'm like, dude, you're good, brother. I appreciate everything you're doing. So make sure you give him, you pass that on, that I said he's awesome and he's rocking it. Because he does a lot of cool stuff. Other than that, I think that's it. We like to end with saying, remember to be a 5-star version of yourself. Keep killing it. Keep grinding. Stay consistent. Like my man said, do the homework, do the work, and do the research before you get into something, because you got to know if you're going to like it or not. Other than that, fishy fish, run that outro, and we will see you guys next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Peace.